So, you, along with what feels like most everybody in the United States, has been thinking about moving to Texas. Well, I'm going to tell you about 5 different things that you should know before moving here. And make sure that you stay to the end of the video because I've got some super interesting facts that most people do not know about Texas at all. So, let's go ahead and get started. All right, first things first, got to get this one out of the way. Number 1, everybody in Texas is not walking around in cowboy hats, cowboy boots, and riding horses. I've heard this many times before. I actually visited Washington, D.C. one time, and they knew I was from Texas because I said the word y'all. I didn't know at the time that everybody didn't say the word y'all. I guess most people will say you all. And so I was talking to somebody and I was like, hey, so y'all don't have this over here? And they're like, you're from Texas, aren't you? And I was like, and I didn't think that I had any type of accent or anything like that. And I was like, yeah, that was weird. How did you know I was from Texas? They're like, nobody says the word y'all over here. I was like, what do you mean you guys don't say the word y'all? And they're like, we just don't use that word. I said, well, what do you use? And they said, we say you guys or you all or, you know, I don't forget what the other one they used, but it was crazy to me. So anyways, people don't, and over there in DC, everyone thought that people in Texas, we ride horses everywhere. Like, I guess we're not caught up with the technology that everybody else has. We have cars, we wear regular clothes like everybody else. Every now and then you'll see people walking around in some cowboy boots and a cowboy hat occasionally. But for the most part, people aren't walking around, dressed like, Texas Rangers and all that other stuff. Was it Texas Ranger? No, what was the show with Chuck Norris called? Walker, Texas Ranger, I think that's what it was called. Anyways, so we dress like normal people here. So we have cars and, bikes and motorcycles and all that stuff. So we can knock all that out. That was the first thing that had to get out of the way. We are normal people in Texas. The second thing that I was going to tell you guys about Texas that you might not have known is that it is the 2nd largest state in all of America. Okay, so here's the thing. Texas is so big that you can literally drive from one city to another. It could take you 10+ hours and you're still in Texas. So back in the day, I used to work in a restaurant and I had to travel to a different city. It was El Paso. So I live in Houston and I had to travel to El Paso. So 13 hours later, I was finally in El Paso from Houston, and it was a very long drive. And after a while, all you see is the same thing over and over and over again. It gets very rough. It was a very rough drive. In hindsight now, I probably should have flew there, but I was very amazed, even living in Texas my whole life, I was very amazed that I was able to drive 13 hours and still be in the same state. So there's some countries where it doesn't even take that long to get it out of the country. So it's crazy. I could not believe I couldn't wrap my mind around it. But yes, Texas actually is that big. The only other place bigger than Texas in the US is going to be Alaska. That's it. Fun fact, Texas is also bigger than any country in Europe. Blows my mind. So yes, huge state Texas is. Plenty of different cities for you to live in. Very big. When people say everything's bigger in Texas, they are correct. Number 3 we're going to talk about is going to be the crazy/aggressive drivers that we have here in Texas. Now, if you're one of those Texans that's going to come on here and comment and say, oh, we don't have crazy drivers here, you are probably one of the crazy drivers that we have here. Okay, so again, I've lived in Texas almost my entire life, and it seems like here, we just do not, for one, let anybody merge onto the freeway. I don't know why we do this. We act like everything's a race. We got to get there first. I'll be driving and I'm trying to get onto the highway. Even somebody that's trying to get off, they're like, no, I'm not going to let you over no matter what. Like, they would rather get in a car accident than let me get onto the highway or let me get off the highway. Don't know why that is, but we do it. And I'm guilty of that too. I caught myself doing it the other day and I was like, yep, I'm one of those guys. So yes, crazy drivers, aggressive drivers. I feel like a lot of times people that live here don't really know how to drive in the rain. Anytime it rains, everyone's driving extremely slow. Like, I get it, being cautious, that's fine. But I feel like we just drive very overly cautious And some people are gonna say there's no such thing. But I mean, when you're slowing down, traffic and all this other stuff, it's just like, come on guys, let's get it together. Along with that, the speed limit here sometimes feels like it's non-existent. So I know there's sometimes you can be driving on the highway and the speed limit can be 65 and somebody's zooming past you, giving you that look like they're trying to see who's in the car driving so slow when you're going the speed limit. So normally there'll be people that are going 85 and a 65 and they will look at you like you are the craziest person ever. Like, what are you doing driving so slow? So we do have crazy drivers here. They are aggressive. They don't want to let you merge. They don't want to let you, skip them and catch the light, all that stuff. And I have seen a lot of texters and drivers. Again, I'm going to be one of those guys that says, yes, I'm part of the problem as well. If anybody tells you that they're not, they're probably not being truthful. So yes, we've got some crazy drivers over here for sure. Moving on to number 4, we're going to have to go with diversity. So Texas has actually been named the second most diverse state in all of the nation. Yes, we're very diverse here in Texas. You are going to see many different people of many different backgrounds, of many different cultures. You're going to see lots of different types of food, lots of different types of people, the whole 9 yards. Texas is very diverse. Okay. So for one thing, I'm very, very, very happy that we're so diverse because that's where all the food comes in. Okay. And here, man, I'm like this big. Okay. I love to eat. I love all the food that we have here in Texas. 2 of the things that we pride ourselves on most, I would definitely say is going to have to be the barbecue and the Tex-Mex. Okay, so you cannot go wrong getting some barbecue here in Texas. We pride ourselves on being the best when it comes to barbecue, and especially when it comes to Tex-Mex. There's so many different restaurants and really just people in general that can make these types of foods. It's just amazing. I could go on and on and on about all the types of restaurants there are. I haven't even visited half of all of them here in Texas. That's definitely going to be something on my bucket list to just go from city to city to city to try different foods. And the 5th thing that I'm going to tell you about that you should absolutely know before moving to Texas is going to be what the weather is like. So here in Texas, the weather is mostly going to be sunny and hot. You're not going to be experiencing a lot of days where it's freezing cold, where there's snow. There are some places in Texas where it does get a little bit of snow, but for the most part, normally we'll see temperatures anywhere from 95 degrees, sort of at its hottest, all the way down to maybe 35 degrees at its coldest. Now, in the past years, we've seen like 50 degrees, maybe 45 degrees. It doesn't really get down to 35 degrees that often. However, it does do that every now and again, okay? So I know that in 2021, we did have a winter freeze that basically shut all of us down because we use our own power grid here in Texas. We were all without power, not everybody, but a lot of us were without power for a while just because it got so cold here that we're just not used to it. So I think at the time it was like in the 20s, maybe in the teens. I don't remember. I have to go back and look at it, but it was pretty cold. But yeah, typically it does not get very cold here. We're not out making snowmen every year during the winter time. In fact, Christmas just passed and it was still up in the high 80s, low 90s around Christmas time. Yeah, it was pretty hot. Even in fact, so right now it's, January 10th right now. Just this week, it just decided to get cold. So I'm in Houston. So Houston said, hey, you know what? I think it's time. I think we missed the holidays. We're going to go ahead and just give y'all a little bit of a taste of what it was like. So just for a couple of days, it got a little bit cold. And then after that, it was back to high temperatures again. It's ridiculous. So anyways, the temperature here, you're not going to feel a lot of cold times. There's not really a lot of wearing like the ski jackets and the scarf. I don't remember last time I saw somebody in a scarf, but ski jackets and the scarves and like the eye gear, all that stuff. We don't wrap our tires, with chains, and we don't shovel up snow and stuff like that. It just doesn't happen here. In fact, it very rarely gets that cold over here that whenever it does decide to snow, or even if there's just a little bit of ice on the roads, most schools will shut down all the way. They'll just shut all the way down. There's not going to be any school. Some people don't even have to go to work because it's too dangerous to drive on the roads because we are not built for conditions like that. So if you come to Texas, you can expect beautiful weather and for it to be sunny. When it's cold-ish, if you're from somewhere like, Chicago, then you're probably not worried about this, the cold coming here. So, okay guys, so that was the end of the list. And as promised, I have some surprising facts about Texas that you probably did not know. In fact, most people that are even from Texas don't know these things. So let's go ahead and jump into those really quickly. Surprising fact number 1, Dr. Pepper was actually invented in Texas in 1885. I love me some Dr. Pepper, and it's awesome to know that it came from Texas. Dr. Pepper was created by Charles Alderton in Waco, Texas. Dr. Pepper was first nationally marketed in 1904 and is now sold all over the world. The recipe is a secret and is kept in 2 halves and safety deposit boxes located in 2 different Dallas banks. Crazy, bet you didn't know that. I didn't know it either. Next, we have Texas has 3 of the top 10 most populous cities in the United States. So these cities are Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio. The total population of the Texas Triangle mega region as of the 2010 census was 17,745,584. Holy cow. Okay, this one's actually kind of sad, but it is true. The deadliest natural disaster in the United States history occurred in Texas. So the Great Galveston Hurricane of 1900 took between 6,000 and 12,000 lives with a storm surge of 8 to 15 feet. The next deadliest hurricane in U.S. history was Hurricane Katrina, which claimed 1,200 lives. Again, super surprising, didn't know that. Also, very sad, but true. Well, guys, that's it for right now. Thank you so much for watching my channel. If you liked this content, please do me a solid and give me a thumbs up, and maybe hit the subscribe button and hit the little notification bell so you don't miss any videos that I upload every single week. Also, additionally, guys, if you know anybody that is looking to move to Texas and they are preferring Houston or Dallas or Austin, they need a guide or need somebody to talk to about the situation to help them to make the best decision possible, my name is Alex Watkins. I would love to help your family, friends, or coworkers. So all of my contact information is down in the description below. I would love to help each and every one of you guys out that reaches out to me. So until next time, you guys have a great day.